I think
Hey,
sorry.
Arsonist can't hear anything. I don't know if it's a
Uh,
internet-only issue.
you guys are able to speak in this little chat. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello, Beaston.
They can hear us. Hey, Easton.
So
Okay, I'm making my way.
send us a message in this little chat thing if you can hear us. One second. Can you? Okay. So okay. The main thing is I want you guys all to get to bring up anything you'd like. We haven't done one of these since December. So if you'd like to say something, send a message. Okay. Invite to speak. Okay. Did that work? I clicked on the invite to speak thing. Did it work?
I've arrived.
Okay, who's denying the request? Stop.
Who you're trying to
Dave,
accept your
that was no, it wasn't. It's not Easton because it was happening before you got in here. Whoever's doing that, I'm about to ban you from the damn server. That's bullshit. Don't do that ever again.
Damn. You can check in the log if you really want to.
Let's see who's doing it. Does anybody want to admit to it before I go look?
Is it Peep?
Is there somebody whose name Rex? You know that person?
Rex, they were doing it?
Yeah, do you know him?
No. How is he denying it?
They're not even in the VC though.
That's weird. Anyway, Dave, what did you want to bring up? And here's how we'll do this. Let me say, if you'd like to speak, just put a message. Can you put a message with like what you want to say when you click speak, like request? Or no? Is it just a request?
You can only make a request. You can't
Okay.
say what you want to be about.
We'll request. We'll accept pretty much every single. We'll accept every single request. We'll just go one by one, and we'll give. Let's see. Let's go with how long should each person get? A minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
I mean, it depends on
If
what
they're
they're bringing up.
okay, yeah. If there are people waiting, then we'll put a limit on it. But if there aren't, then we'll just keep going. But Dave, you requested to speak. What do you got on your mind? What's been going on?
Well, it just feels to me. Well, what I've noticed lately, you've been a little quiet with me and Luke as of late, and I just wanted to know why that is. I don't think you've responded to my DMs at all lately. Instead, I just got asked a big list of 10 plus items revolving around something I didn't prior to that have any concern with. It seems like some big issue has just arisen that I was not aware of, and there's some undercover plot that's being discussed about Lopad trying to get revenge or something.
Okay,
or
so
trying to go to war.
I'll
I'm
go
confused
backwards
about all that.
with these.
I don't know what prompted all of this to begin with.
I'll start with the long list.
Yeah.
I was appointed the Minister of Foreign Affairs under the MJUK administration, which was elected in about a week ago after Zevdi he'd stepped down. You should have gotten a message like this from MJ when he was the Minister of the Foreign Affairs under the Zevdi administration. Did you not?
I got the message.
So they're not out of the ordinary. It's just a list of questions that concern.
It just seems to me like you've been a lot more business lately and not more one-on-one in the mood to talk about stuff, the individual level.
It's been pretty busy lately.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to assume. And then some stuff came up about this whole proxy war with Fred that Hoyle was talking about and your involvement in that. And it just feels to me like your involvement with the CFA right now is not in the best interest of Lopad. When we're trying to move on from the past, we don't want any war or anything of the sort.
Are you aware of
And-
what the situation with Poyu was?
Well, I was there for a bit of it.
So you know that
And-
he left the CFA because we refused to go to war over the march last night.
Mhm.
So
But-
I'm not understanding what prompts you to think that I'm trying to go to war with Loped.
Not trying to go to war, but paranoid that Loped wants a future war with the CFA.
That's just
Were
a
those
general.
questions from someone else, or did you write all those? Were those all questions that you came up with?
They're questions that the people in the high command often prompt and are worried about. It drives our decision making as far as everything goes, pretty much. Aglaria and the
One of the
UE got the
questions-
exact same
wait.
questions.
Hold on. One of the questions, it says, what does Dankus think of the CFA? Do they still hate it? As in, prior to this, Dankus hated the CFA?
If
Which I don't-
I'm correct, the MJUK the MJUK Foreign Relations survey came back with a very negative rating from Dankus as far as they were concerned
No, I
about
think
the
very
CFA.
positive.
Hmm.
I can pull up mine right now.
I may
I
be
actually
mistaken.
see it.
Was it positive?
It said like we like
Yeah.
the people. There's just a couple issues that we need to iron out, and we're all good. That's basically what it
I
said.
may get it wrong. Which faction
Good.
said they didn't like us? There was one of them.
So, MJ, he asked me, yo, I'm going around to every faction
PP, come on, bro.
and what we can do to improve. And I said, I don't mind the AFFS, and I get along with a lot of people in it, but sometimes it feels like some of the members are a little hostile towards other factions, and it would be nice for all the factions to get along and do community events without people worrying about being killed for no reason. Of course, it's only a select few members that cause the problems, but overall, it would be nice if everyone could get along and just have fun playing the game. Otherwise, I think the AFFS is a great group and a lot of people with a lot of great people and factions in it.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
for the most part, that was all
I probably just
positive.
misremembered
There was
it. No big
just a
deal.
few things that someone cherry picked to make it seem worse than it was. So,
Not a huge deal.
and then another question that was asked: why was Dankus involved in the recent "quote unquote" vacation incident?
Yes.
We never
I
called it
myself-
vacation, by the way.
No,
Where'd that come
They were
from?
just looking around at the aftermath of stuff.
Yeah,
and
so-
it.
I don't get the hysteria that revolves around what we did. Like me myself, I just wanted to play the game and hop on with Luke because it's been a hot minute since we've just done
Mhm.
something fun like that. We wanted to go around and look at the state of the low-pad territories and see where they were currently sitting post-war, seeing what's been done with them, if they're in a better state than they were before. Because that's stuff that we were told. We were told that they could do it better than we did with those territories. So we just wanted to see what things looked like. It was exclusively out of curiosity. It wasn't supposed to be some hostile thing. It wasn't supposed to be a really big group. Like-
It started as Odd Arsonist wanted to rebuild one of the buildings there, and he wanted to take pictures. And I said, why don't I tag along? I'm curious what it looks like too. And Dave, he got on for the first time in a few weeks. So I'm like, Dave, why don't you come with us? And as we went, Sleep Drake and Tomas joined us. So it looked like a big group, but he didn't intend to bring a big group and march it through at the Charles territory. I don't know why we would want to do that. That makes
No,
no
there-
sense for us to do.
I don't see any harm in just wanting to look at another faction's
Yeah,
progress.
No, the issue with a lot of people came. It was reported that before the, I guess y'all said y'all didn't call it a vacation. The
No.
excursion through Spawn. Before that was done, it was reported that everyone was stocked up on potions, guns, and armor.
By who? Who's
That
what?
isn't true.
Well, like everyone
I can-
carries guns and armor on them anyway.
I
so
can respond to that. So the full extent of that, it was when we got to spawn. I said, I don't have a gun, and Tomas said, oh, I can help you, and he gave me one musket. Now I also had Turtle Master
Excuse me.
potions in my chest. I had a full choker turtle master
Oh
potions.
yeah, aren't those ones that I gave you?
Yes, that Paige gave me, and I didn't get them out. I very well could have, and I don't know. I didn't have any golden apples. I don't think anybody did. Some people's armor was half enchanted. I
Yeah, it wasn't
it,
some like big
Okay, so
like
how long was everybody at Blocktopia?
like
I think it
10
was
minutes less
less
than that.
less than 15.
We were told 30.
And no, Penguin was
It's
there
not
with
true.
us.
And Penguin didn't say
Penguin,
you have to leave immediately. He was just following us around.
yeah,
And we,
he joined the VC with us too, and we were chill about it.
I
I
mean,
think I
Jace,
just
It's weird.
you have to understand. To our knowledge, Easton almost got banned from the server like a week ago.
You
Who are we
guys
gonna
did know
take
that
more
Easton Burton
seriously?
was the governor of Battletopia.
I didn't.
Yes.
That was known.
When I asked Plague about it, he said, "Oh, he actually isn't." So
I remember when
that's
that
when I
happened.
went.
There were complaints by you guys about him being the governor of Battletopia. He said it was insulting.
Yes, and I went to Plague, and I'm like, "Is he really the governor?" He said, "Well, it wasn't confirmed by the council."
When was that?
I can pull it up in the
Was
server.
that shortly after? I think I remember something like that happening.
But what I just found funny is that we weren't listening to Burton because he was screaming at us in the chat like an infant child, and we were supposed to listen to him, right? But then earlier today, he was doing the same thing and yapping, and Plague told us that we shouldn't listen to him.
What was he yapping about?
So
He was saying like, I don't know. He's
The
just
difference
yelling at
is that
Lopez,
you
saying
were
it wasn't
supposed to
going to be
listen to
50.
him when it was his city that you were going into. But when he's just sitting there yapping on and on about random stuff, it really doesn't matter. Plague is right. But when
Well,
he's
Jace, I found
directly
it.
telling you to, how long ago was it?
It was April 20th that Plague told me that.
6 days ago. So yeah, it was about a week ago. It's around when he was given. So it was right after.
Yeah. So and then couple that with the fact that Penguin was there too, and for all we knew, Penguin outranked Easton. I mean,
No, I get
I
it.
think that
It's just that there wasn't any, I guess, clarification from what I saw. I mean, by the time Poyu, which is that was the epicenter of this whole thing, was Poyu getting up and seeing it all. There was no real direct response public from Lopet about it. I mean, like
I was
there
talking
was.
today. We didn't think there would be an issue. Like genuinely, I said, I think I said something about should we make a statement about it, and nobody
You
thought
should have.
what we did was of any significance. We thought we just walked. That's what
we
we all
just
said we
walked
did.
around
The
and then left without touching anything. Actually, no, I think Tamaz might have. Wasn't there like the claim broken or something? I don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was that about?
So he
Oh.
broke
The
something.
events described to us were a lot more hostile and a lot more malicious. Okay, who's kicking people out? I'm gonna ban them from the server because I've already said something. I'm gonna go to.
No, I just feel like there's a bit of
It's a finger.
Okay, have fun, Fingerlinger. Enjoy the Loped
yeah,
server only.
you're dead. Yeah, I just feel like there was a lot of hysteria that got
There was.
drawn through this whole incident when it really wasn't as harmful in nature as people made it out to be. Like it was literally just a tour of
It
old
never.
Lopad bases.
It never crossed our mind that people would want to go to war over what we did last night.
1 second.
And that
I-
really just makes it seem like they want any reason to go back to war because they're bored. Like if you're gonna go to war over something as petty as this, like what else do you have that's better to do in your time?
What started the spawn war again?
The conflict over the boats and the
It's getting
screenshots.
stolen.
Screenshots.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
So
not
it's
screenshots. Like
it's too far
it's
to have screenshots of plans, but it's not too far for them to get upset about their stuff being, for one, mocked, It was called a wasteland on top of other things, which is frustrating for them because there's a lot of stuff that has to be done. It's only been a month since the war ended. I mean, we're struggling to get everything in order.
Hold on. Wasteland remark I made was just referring to just all the dirt towers and random cobblestone structures, like on the old Loped highway is just completely
It
decimated.
wasn't a Loped highway. That's the highway that the AFFS
Big
made.
bridge?
Oh, on yours? Then the video I got, it looked like at least Luke was next to Fintia
I remember when I made that remark.
on the Finia Road.
When that comment was made, now I've talked with Zevdi about this. It's a big issue. When that comment was made, I don't know if the person that sent you the video included this. I said, let's not make bad comments about the AFFS. Yes, I very much said that.
Okay, well that's
I can
good.
pull it up right now. If we need
I
to,
believe you.
but,
The person who sent it
okay,
to me
well,
is. I mean, I can
just-
believe that he.
my point is, people. Not everybody's gonna be able to get over the war immediately. I mean, you have people on your side. I think that Mike Mixkey, he made like a Loped diss track the other day. Like our
Did he?
members are gonna make fun of each other. He did. Our members are gonna make fun of each other. I can't help it that much beyond telling them to stop,
That's funny.
and that's what I did. So I don't know what else I'm expected to do.
I know you're doing fine. It's just I can understand why. I mean, I told you in the operator chat just how targeted Charlesonia specifically feels since the war ended.
I
I mean,
think it needs to be highlighted.
All of the.
We don't.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say. We don't think of Charlesonia as a faction anymore. We think it's just part of the AFFS. We're not thinking of Charlesonia specifically, or I mean, yeah, I guess Slack would be the only example.
That may
But
be the root of the
beyond him-
problem.
Slack,
No,
Just Slack.
no, not viewing it
I
as
mean-
a legitimate faction anymore.
I mean, is it not?
It is. The CFA
So
is
the
a
CFA
collection of.
is
You know how the UE is a collection of
I-
factions?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's just more organized into a.
We thought it was like Loped, where
Mhm.
you have like states.
No,
I guess we just misunderstood.
it's fine. I think it's even in the which I don't expect you to go read the CFA Constitution, but it outlines the role that each faction has. It is very clear on what they are considered. One second, we got a Ethan Huang wanting to speak. Oh, he must have got kicked. Thanks, Fingerlinger. 1 second. I wonder if people know they got kicked or if. 1 second.
Team game, try to tell him. I was gonna tell him if he's in game, he's not.
Is it
Finger.
actually an interest of the CFA to actually be rebuilding the broken trust and relationship with the past enemies?
Yeah.
From the third spawn war? Is that
I've-
something that is
I've-
actually
Even before I
recognized
was.
by all the people? I
Not
thought there's
every,
a
it's
lot of
never
bad
going to be
blood still
recognized
in
for
the air.
everybody. I mean, just today we had this whole conflict where even like a whole faction was going to CC just so they could go and fight Loped because of the stuff last night. It's not going to be universal, but that's why it's important that we have our democracy there so that just one person being upset about something can't just get so mad about it and just go to war automatically. They don't have that authority. But I forgot what I was saying. But yes,
Charlesonia wanting to secede?
Yeah.
I don't see why. Can you explain it to me better?
Okay, I did a little bit of an explanation in the OP chat, but I guess it was kind of sporadic. What happened this morning was Poyu saw all the stuff and was upset
He's
that
Charlesonian, right?
yes, he claims to be the current standing head over Charlesonia while Wilkie is on vacation. And the members of Charlesonia currently are Penguin Man, Gandhi, High Face, and East. Did I say Easton already? Easton's
no.
one of them. Yeah, well, that's them. There's 4 other ones aside from him. And he this morning said that the response, which was just another march, like we were just gonna do the same thing and visit your guys' stuff, said that the march was not nearly enough. We should have went to war. And upon him basically being, it was pretty brutal. They were pretty mean to him. I wasn't awake at this time, but they were pretty mean to him about it. And he said he was going to secede from the CFA so that Charlesonia could declare war on Lopad and end it all for like once and for all. So it wouldn't have worked. I mean, but I will say Gandhi, Eason, all of Charlesonia for the most part was in support of it. Actually,
I didn't know those people were Charlesonian.
Subfaction people.
I guess there's a misunderstanding about who's in what faction.
It's just CFA is the blank. That's all that really needs to be known. But the actual factions within it, it can get confusing, especially when you get into subfactions. The CFA has this clause in its constitution where one second. We got to wait 1 second. Shadow Killer. Can you speak? Hello? Did it work? Hello?
Let me.
Hello?
Request it again. I think I clicked it. Someone else did. I think I'm clicking the wrong button.
Well, I invited him to speak. He's got to accept it.
Maybe he doesn't want to.
Okay.
Hey, Shadowkiller, send us a message in the little chat thing if you do want to come up and talk. Anyone is allowed to. I guess some of you just got in here. Just go to the sidebar or whatever, request to speak, and we'll allow it. You can. Okay. Just making sure. And you'll be able to say whatever you want to. It's just to stop people from going crazy in here and yelling at each other. What were we saying, though?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about Charlesonia and how we don't know who's in what faction.
So for Penguin Man, he wants his own faction, but dude, okay, let me backtrack here. The CFA Constitution has a clause where 3/4 of the Senate has to vote in a faction if they are to be an actual official CFA faction with voting rights. The same week that his vote was up for his faction Bromania, he had went over to the Order and killed everybody. And so his the view of the Senate was not in his favor at all. His vote to join did not pass, and so he was offered to join Charlesonia as a subfaction, so he could quote unquote prove himself to become an actual CFA faction independently. So that's with him. That's where the confusion comes from, because on one hand he wants to be an independent faction, but he just is trying to get his feet off the ground basically at the moment. So he's a Charlesonian subfaction. It goes. You can think of it. You have the CFA at the top, as like the overarching federal government. Underneath that, you have the factions, which are the ones that are voted in and approved by the Senate, which is every single faction gets one representative. And then under that, you have sub-factions or cities, whatever that faction decides to do. So.
Easton wants you to read his chat messages.
Where?
In game chat.
I'm not. Oh my gosh. What's he saying?
He says, Plague, you don't know what we are talking about. Then he says, He's not even the trial sub-faction. And that's it.
Who's not a Charles subfaction?
I
I
think he's
gotta get
talking
going.
about Penguin.
Okay.
Right, bye, Dave.
He is. He is an official Charles subfaction. Oh yeah, Zycro and the Babeltopia members. I forgot about them. They're not super
Bye.
vocal, but they're there. They get on every day about. Oh Adam. Oh yeah, Adam. I don't really know who he's with. Zycro is a Babeltopia member though.
Well,
Is there anything else involved? Like anybody else wants to bring up real quick before I get into other stuff?
I wanted to talk about, because I wouldn't want this issue to be like discussed behind closed doors. You know, make our little theories. I'd rather just, talk it out with you. And many, I just want to say, many Lopez, whether right or wrong, are just very uncomfortable with you as server owner being in such a high place at the CFA. And that's not to say you can't be involved with factions. I'd like for you to. But I just have to pose the question. Imagine if you were president of Lopad or something, how upset the other side would be.
Oh, I get it. I brought this up before. It's why I decided not to run for Lord of the CFA and why I never will. The roles that I'm being given are just like asking questions for it's the foreign relations. I might get infrastructure one time. I might not even get one next time. I can get one of the many we have, little subgroups under the Lord, little ministers that don't have any real say other than specific jobs they're supposed to do. It's just member with, okay, I'm going to mute PP. 1 second. Okay, he fixed it. Anyway, what was this? Okay, it's a role that gives you a task. It's not an actual thing in the hierarchy. It's just Lord,
Right.
Senate, and then people.
Well, I guess the issue would be, maybe not your position, but just the amount of, I guess, influence you have. Because, I mean, in the past month, 2 months maybe, you haven't been actively been in Lopad chat saying, okay, you guys need to do this, this, and this.
I haven't been in many
But,
chats.
well, I mean, it can be said that a lot of it would be no different if you were the CFA leader. You just not have that title because you told them to go together. You told them that you should have this democracy system, that you should make roads connecting everything. I guess it's just saying that even if you were officially the CFA leader, it wouldn't even make that much difference.
Just saying because I make suggestions that it's almost as if I was just the CFA leader.
I mean, it's more than suggestions. It's saying, like, I guess you can refer to it as a suggestion, but like saying, like, you guys need to form up and defend the integrity of the spawn sector. Like, they never would have thought of that as on their own. And I guess,
Which
I
back
mean,
then
what I'm
I
saying is
told
you
you
have
that was going to happen. I told you I was going to be doing that. I
Right,
told you
but
I'd
a
be
lot of
actively going
other
in.
stuff now, even when, as the CFA, especially now that it's against Loped, I guess people would be upset about you're giving suggestions about what to do with Loped.
It's not suggest. I'm a member of the CFA.
Well, I think that's the problem, though, that many people have.
I don't get that
They just
problem.
they can't reconcile the fact that
I was owner of the server for 4 years head of a faction the whole time, and
Right.
there wasn't really any, especially towards the end, any conflict of interest there.
I think a better way to put it is that um you you told us you're impartial. I believe that. I trust you, but the people that look at Jay saying, "Okay, guys, Lopez doing this and this. Let's start a proxy war with them. Maybe let's do this
Did
or
I clear
this
that up
to."
earlier? That wasn't my plan.
No, he, I got a message from Zebdi that said you wanted to support both sides of the war, which is what gave me that idea.
No, Easton wanted to actually fight in the war. It's his suggestion.
Okay. So that was all of it.
All of what?
The supposed proxy war. It's just
Proxy.
Easton
It wouldn't have
wanting
been a
to.
proxy war. If that actually went through, which it probably would not have, it would have just said that the people of the CFA would be allowed to be mercenaries on either side. I have no say to pass that in any way. I don't know why it's being
But
said that I was trying to have that happen.
well, that's what Poyu told us.
See, this is the issue. Even as far back as Fred, it's like they know that when you say that I said something or I support something or I did something, it immediately has a significantly more merit, significantly more important, I guess, than if he had said, "Oh, Easton was saying that we need to go have let mercenaries fight," or Easton said this, or Wilkie said, what was he saying that? Or that Wilkie said that Lopez was a giant vacuum cleaner.
I another example I can think of is during the when we were paying our debt. I was talking to Plague, and he's like, if you don't pay your money, I'm under strict orders from Jace to kill you. And of course, you're a member of the faction. You're just telling them what you need to say. It's just, as a member of that faction, you
We've
order
talked about
things
this
that be.
before.
I know, but in general, what I'm really trying to hammer at is that I'm okay with you being a member of a faction. I'm not opposed to that. It's just calls within that faction that is negative to Lopad. You know that you understand
Yeah, I
what
think
I'm
you
trying to
cut
say.
out. You just said calls within that faction negative to Lopad.
Yeah, I'm okay with you being a member of a faction, but making calls that are negative, that are negative to Lopad, I think that's what people are really upset about because you've
I don't
we
get to
want to believe you're.
make calls against anybody.
I find that hard to believe.
Why is that?
Well, I
I
don't
have not been at
see.
the past, which I'll be there tomorrow, but I have not been at the past, what, Easton, 3 Senate meetings? There's been 5 Senate meetings, and I've been to 2.
Well, it's like you said, like you say, for whatever reason, it's just again with more merit and even simple suggestions in their like secret chat, giving them that advice like you guys should do this or this if Lopad doesn't do this thing. Just stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Is there an example of that? I mean, I know that whenever the war was ending, I stepped in large part. We didn't have a leader, then we didn't have a lord. It was kind of just everybody was everybody's boss. I stepped in there so that they wouldn't go crazy and take everything you had and make you repair Babeltopia, Mephisto, and Fintia. I stepped
Right,
in there.
and I'm not trying to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that you're just this rabid, like anti-Loped person. That's not
Okay,
what I'm
wait.
getting at.
He's back.
Oh, Ethan.
Huang? Did he leave? Huang.
Luke, did you know Jace actually saved you?
What do you mean,
Well, that's what I was
Beaston?
gonna talk about. Like, go ahead.
Whenever you're ready, just go ahead and say something. Ethan, we're waiting on Easton at the moment. Continue, Easton.
That's all I have to say.
From what? Like, at what point?
I'm talking in-game chat.
You're able to talk right now.
Well, anyways, I'm not trying to say you're this rabid anti-Loped person. I'm just trying to say that there are people that are just upset, and they will be, no matter whether it's right or wrong, about the fact that you're in a faction that has in the past been very opposed to Loped.
It's going to be an issue no matter what until I just quit playing. I've talked to, I don't know if it was Easton or somebody else, when I was initially actually running to be the Lord of the CFA. Um, it was during the Glysopian conflict. Um, I had mentioned that no matter what, and this was an issue even before in chapter 1, since I mentioned that earlier. I feel like a lot of the reasons that we had Exodus events back then was because people thought it was impossible to defeat Charlesonia because I was the owner of it. They thought that there was no point in playing because there was some kind of edge there, or that it wasn't fair, or this or that, because I was a member of it. And I've seen other servers where the owner, I mean that the one that Zegri is from. I don't know if you guys know him. If you're in the CFA, you'll know him. From what I understand, from what Blake said, he plays that server normally, like everyone else, on his server. Okay, wait. Someone's shutting down the requests again. I want to see who did that. It doesn't tell you who shuts down requests. Anyway, I don't understand why it's been an issue on here for so long. I mean, even back then, that was I have a suspicion that was the root of a lot of the issues. Was the fact that I was the owner of the server, owned, operated, and led Charlesonia, which happened to be the top faction, which was mainly due to the streaming and all that. But you know, I feel like there's no way to get away from it, honestly. And I mean, there's no real reason why it should be an issue.
Well, it isn't a bad thing.
You and Dave have admin. You're actively members, leaders, and operators of your own respective factions. Yeah.
You don't do any operator stuff, so I don't think it should be a problem, honestly.
I don't.
Well, I don't think people are saying you just give them stuff illegally. I don't think that's the issue. I don't even know if I can put my finger on the issue, but I guess just the idea.
There shouldn't be an issue.
Well, if Jace was a part of
I personally know someone in this DC that abused the operator.
Well, we can talk about that in a second, but what I was saying was nobody would be mad if Jace was the, if he was like the president of the UE. It's the fact that he carries a lot of sway and a lot of influence in a faction that has been very opposed to Lopad in the past.
But I've been one of the, I guess, chief, what's the word? I don't even know. Proponents against going back to war since the war ended. I even tried to get you Poor Dankus back. I tried to get you all this stuff. They're just not gonna. It's not just because the faction that I'm in doesn't want to do these things that your members want done does not mean that I'm out to get them for it.
The issue may be people are conflating your opinions and what you think with the positions of the CFA.
The CFA existed months before I joined it.
Months?
Months.
Is it the AFFS?
Yeah. The AFF. I joined the AFFS after the war ended. I told them that if they took over.
Oh, I thought you meant before. Go ahead.
So
though.
you joined as an official member of it that like would play the server, but like prior to that, you did play a big part in organizing it and giving it a lot of its foundations.
I gave Zebdi the suggestion. He genuinely did contact Omega Craft, the Order. Well, no, Omega Craft contacted the Order, but he got both of those in. OSBR. I don't know which group you guys think I got into the AFFS.
I mean, did you say that the AFS should be created? Or was that somebody else's idea?
I said that the spawn region should come together to take over the spawn point. I think that was in the screenshots.
So all of the
It wasn't even
stuff came from elsewhere.
It was in the same chat. You talking about the defense plan?
Uh,
The AFFS did
Which
not
one would that
exist when the defense plan was put into place. It was the plan, and eventually the AFFS was called the Spawn Syndicate for about 2 days after the war was, whenever the declaration of war was sent.
But there's clearly an alliance.
The alliance didn't exist either. The Spawn Syndicate server was created, and there was like this trade network thing set up there. But I don't even think the Order, OSBR, no, it was the Order and Omega Craft hadn't even joined it until after the war started. They joined when they declared war.
One could reasonably guess that if Lopad was going direction, no matter
cut out.
what. I said it can be reasonably expected, no matter if the alliance was official or not, that if Lopad and Charles Lonia were going to war, each faction would have this set of allies, no matter what.
So wait, what's the issue then?
That's not the issue. We were just talking about that. I guess the issue was that you told them that they needed
So
to make this alliance.
wait. You're saying that these people can be reasonably expected to help Charles Onia if it came to spawn. Why?
Because in the same sphere of, I guess, just IRL, the Muslim community has a big part.
OSBR isn't Muslim.
Well,
I don't think the Order is Muslim either.
The want for revenge on Lopad.
So it's a group that wanted revenge on Lopad prior to Zevdi reaching out to several leaders.
I'm sure they would jump at the chance if it was offered.
So does it really matter that I even said anything to Zevdi?
Well, this happened to be the
I mean,
faction.
you know, there was no issue beforehand. I was helping Whaleke manage Charlesonia in the month after the coalition war, handing out tasks, etc. There was no issue there. But as soon as Zevdi reaches out to Jar and Rip and others, I can't.
I guess the issue arose was when the faction you helped,
One,
well, not even one. It just went to war with Lopad and took so much of his
Lopad
stuff.
went to war with them.
I mean, even you would admit it would have started anyway.
It would have over the spawn region. If Lopad had went to the spawn region and taken it in that battle, like you guys planned to do, war would have broken out. I think
Right.
that war being declared on December 28th. Yeah, December 28th. It didn't change much aside from the fact that war was guaranteed. There was a very high chance that after that spawn battle, either side, the side that lost the battle, would have declared war to take that spawn point.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter. It's just that in our timeline that we live in, Lopad declared war on the AFFS or Charlesonia, and then the AFFS jumped in.
Mm-hmm. But
So,
I think you're getting it. It's the faction you helped.
one. I know that's where.
Fought a war against Lopad.
What were
took
they
so
gonna
much of his
do?
stuff. Well, it's not the fact that they did that they fought us. It's that you had a hand in helping them, organizing them, and
And this was
giving them
known. I didn't organize anything. The organization was all them. They had to come up every single battle, get the mats, all that. I didn't play at the time. I was rarely online. When I was making claims. But aside from, I'm sorry, wait, organizing what?
their government, just telling them what to do.
There was no government in the AFFS before I joined it. It did not have one.
Well, I mean, just the structure of what they do, saying like, you guys need to do this thing or this thing.
I'm getting real, there was no structure either. I mean, aside from you guys point out that the plans for defensive spawn that were sent to them were used. That's all they had. If one thing had went wrong, they wouldn't have known what to do. Or they would have had to come up with their own thing. I mean, nothing was changed from that initial spawn plan.
I mean, you'd be able to admit that you, very least helped the AFFS. I mean, that whether good or bad, you did do that.
The roads, that was a suggestion because I wanted everywhere to have roads. I talked to you about it before that.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to you about it even in the coalition war. I mean, I had given you the suggestion for canal systems, walls. I think roads came up later. Like it's just
right, but
it's something that me and you have talked about a lot about how we wish we had this.
Yeah,
so
but you didn't join Lopad.
I wasn't a member of the AFFS at the time. And it does help that my former faction of Charlesonia is a member of the CFA. That is a major contributing factor.
So
I don't think it's a secret or odd at all. Sorry, that I would want to gravitate towards the faction that I created. What 3-4 years ago now, and was the leader of for that duration.
I'm not against that. My members, or ever since it started, there have been a few people that have been mad, saying, "Why did Jace do this or this thing? Why don't you bring it up with him? Why this or this?" And I feel like I had to ask you, otherwise they just go on thinking whatever they decide to think.
And there's, like I said, but there's no way to change that. There's genuinely no
Hey,
way. Yeah.
So if you joined Lopad, they'd have nothing to say anything like this, right?
Yeah,
They
just,
would not be considered at all. They would just
but
be like, oh yeah,
I mean, I think
can't
that
play
it's,
again.
if the AFFS had lost the war, and then I joined the CFA, I don't think there would be an issue at all.
Yeah, bro.
I don't think that anybody would have been
Well, maybe the idea
said
is
about
that
it.
you're a big part in their victory.
That's misguided though.
Why?
I didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, we're not saying you got on and made gear sets or anything like that.
I mean, what could I? It's not like the CFA, the AFS ever had a plan going into a battle. What would I have contributed from the sidelines?
We were under the impression that before every battle, you told them what to do. You, um, you told them how to act. We were under the impression that you're basically the leader of the AFFS ever since it started.
You can compare
Whether that's right or wrong, that was what we thought.
how Charlesonia was led in wartime prior to me changing it over to how the AFFS operated during the war. How many times when I was commanding a battle for Charlesonia, did I have everybody just rush in and hope to God that they were able to overpower everybody?
Right.
How many times did that happen? I have said time and time again about how stupid that quote unquote strategy is because it's all up to luck. I've talked about it in the Agrarian War, Coalition War, that war with Mephisto, everything up until I'm even in this war, this third spawn war. I've talked to both sides about how stupid it is, but that worked for them. They didn't need to plan.
Maybe we're getting bad information about what you're saying.
Did someone tell you that I told them to just jump off of whatever defensive they had built, go in and then kill everybody?
Not like that, but hey, when Oyu is saying when he was going on his tangent, he was saying that you guys don't try to lie. You guys always trying to plan war. Jace was talking about Jace he's been trying to get a war with Lopad. Stuff like that.
I don't know where that comes from. I've been the number one since the war ended, and even before it officially ended, trying to fix it. I mean, you remember when Wilkie came to you talking about the repetition? That ended up going bad, but that conversation started out good. I remember talking about how he wants after the war for everybody to be on good terms. Was asking how he could do that. I suggested that to him. I told him, you need to fix this. Things are terrible right now. You don't want it to continue after the war. He suggested that you guys should go build stuff in the new chunks. That's the suggestion I gave him. Even before the war ended or was even close to ending, I was telling them, trying to get them to start making strides towards mending the tension.
I think the issue is not what you do, but what people believe. Just because you're a member of that faction.
And there's no way that'll ever change. There's no way for that to ever be quelled because people like to have excuses for everything. Lopez lost the war, so the membership there is going to say that it's just because I was quote unquote helping them, holding their hand every step of the way.
And like, I'm not making these excuses, nor am I endorsing those ideas. I'm just saying this is what we think, and it's best we
I
talk about it and just
I
let
know,
people think that.
I know. I'm speaking to them. It needs to be remembered. Prior to the Third Spawn War, going back all the way to the beginning of Chapter 2, Season 1, I continuously helped the side that was clearly going to lose any given engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I helped Lopez in the Beakshire conflict. I helped Mephisto in the Mephisto conflict. The Coalition and Lopez and the Coalition War, because that was kind of both ways at the beginning. Then in the Spawn War, like I said several times to everybody, the AFFS or Charlesonia did not think they had any chance. All the factions that declared war that day did so thinking that they were going to be destroyed and they were going to go down fighting. That did not end up being the case, but nevertheless, that's what I went into it thinking. When I gave them the initial plan that they used through the entire war, it was thought that they had absolutely no chance of winning, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had a role back then, as it was like I wasn't a player. I had that warlord role, which was just I'd help anyone who asks with a war-related thing, just pushing these things along so they actually happen, making sure they happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think there's any more to discuss. I think you explained it well for me.
Well, it'll always be an issue. It really doesn't matter because
I wish it
anytime
wasn't. I mean, I basically can do anything you can do in the server.
you can, you're able to do the exact same amount of stuff I am. The only issue, like the only thing that I'm able to do, is make final judgments on bans, and when there's a massive point of contention on an issue or a rule, I can rule on that and then give an explanation.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Did you send me a DM, Easton?
Easton. I'm glad we could talk about it.
Yeah.
It's good. Open mic.
But it's an issue that's gonna persist until I quit again.
Yeah, and I don't want you to quit. Don't get the wrong idea.
It's just like
Yes.
it's it is annoying because even back in the day, it was like I was playing Charlesonia on handicap because if I went too far, the opponent would quit. Even if they started the conflict, whatever, I couldn't go as far as my opponent could because I was the owner of the server and just it wouldn't be seen as fair. And that's how it is today. Like it was like the Glasopia issue, the Zaner issue. There's all these different Cavalier issues. It's like I know that they didn't say anything about it except for Slack, but
Mm-hmm.
I know, and some of them might not even know that I'm the owner of the server. But in the back of their head, if they would have lost those conflicts, they would have gone to the idea that they only lost because I was the owner of the server and was a member of the CFA. And it'll always be like that. Okay. Easton says, first and most important, I'm in Cincy right now with tribe members everywhere. I'm not going to repeat that.
Easton.
You don't need to say stuff like that, Easton.
I think he's.
You mean Cincinnati?
Second thing for loot.
Omar,
Hmm.
do you have something, sex mate?
No.
Talk about anything.
Anything. We've been in this for a while. The main thing I wanted to talk about was, does anybody have any ideas of what we can do to fix, or what we could give to donators, Patreon members? What's a good thing we can give to them?
I really don't know because I'm not a Patreon member.
I want Luke to answer my question first.
After I became a grinder, he's on that grind set.
Oh yeah, Penguin Man wants his stuff back. Just tell him to DM me a time and place.
What stuff?
On his way to Fort Kanaya for the play battle that we were doing earlier. He
Mhm.
died due to fall damage in the nether. And then right after that, instead of trying to get his stuff back, he left. And
Hey,
then I was like around the area where he died, and I randomly stumbled across it and stuff.
Luke, I need this needs to be like top priority as far as claims are concerned. So Thalavan does not have an updated claim. It's on the previous system, and I think that there's something wrong with it. So could you go there? Oh, he's gone.
So when did Luke leave?
Oh wait, Fireblade, you're admin. Are you able to get on right now?
Like, yeah, I can get on.
Okay, I'm gonna teach you how to make